Hi guys, I'm EVM and welcome back to the channel. This is, and I've had to practice this, the Mini Countryman Cooper SE all-4 plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. Phew. Yep, that took a few takes. It's basically a Mini Countryman that's a plug-in hybrid. Now, yes, I know not everybody likes hybrids, guys, but ultimately some people have no choice but to get one if they want an electrified vehicle. I personally couldn't get an electric car, a full electric car, if I couldn't charge at home. So it's a necessary evil at this stage. There will eventually be no need for hybrids, but for now, they're here to stay and they do suit a purpose. So, how good, if you are looking for a plug-in hybrid, as opposed to a self-charging hybrid, how good is this? Oh god, every time I say that self-charging phrase makes me want to gip. Right, well, it's pretty much standard Mini Countryman fare. The telltale sign to look out for is this S here is yellow rather than red on the standard Cooper S Countryman. It looks like a Mini that's out of proportion to me. You know, like if you watch a DVD on the wrong aspect ratio, it's kind of been stretched. It's not ugly, but I do prefer the standard hatch model. I guess if you've no choice and you've got a large family, you want a Mini, then this is alright. It's not bad at all, it's funky enough, and yeah, you know what, I don't mind it in the end. I'm going to say I don't mind it. That is a massive clue, of course, to the fact it's a plug-in hybrid. It's like a jacked up Mini, like a Mini on steroids. It looks a lot taller in person, or rather it is a lot taller in person than it does on camera. I would say this is definitely a Ford Focus sized vehicle. Cooper S yellow badge there, and of course you've got this one over here. No Simon or Harry to help me decide how big the boot is, so I'm going to have to do it myself, unfortunately. It's pretty big. I don't mind that at all. I would say it's definitely a family-sized boot, and I would say that's about one Andy's worth of boot, if that's a thing. So yeah, it'd do. I think for a family it would do. Even probably get away with a like a camping trip as well. So it is a proper family vehicle, and if you want a Mini, I guess it's got to be this one. As we go around, again, nothing to report. All 4 means 4-wheel drive. Roof rails means, of course, you can stick a decent size and fairly weighty roof rack on there. And the charge port here, of course, because it's a plug-in hybrid as opposed to the thing that doesn't exist, and that is a self-charging hybrid. So overall, I think this is a design of compromise. Mini have gone for something that looks like a Mini, but it has to be big enough for a family. And on that respects, I think they've done a decent job. It's not the best looking car in the world, but for me, it'll be fine, especially if you do need that family-sized car. Right, let's see what this interior is like. Okay. Well, if you're familiar with this particular car and the Mini brand, this should be very familiar to you. Let me turn the car on. This has got the Media XL sat-nav pack, and it's pretty much standard Mini fare. There's the hood that's just popping up now, which is an optional extra, as is most things in this car. It's the John Cooper Works optional extra steering wheel, which is similar to the normal one, but I prefer the feel of. So it is worth specking. Sat-nav is really nice and easy to use. iDrive controls down here. For me, the iDrive system, out of all manufacturers, is probably one of, if not the best system to use. I do prefer it over other manufacturers' offerings. And of course, you've got the actual proper buttons, proper things that you can change and move and crucially use whilst you're driving without having to look down. I like buttons. This is good. It's a Mini interior, which for me means it's got a bit of a personality. Some people don't like it, but I actually do, because it's trying to give you something fun, different. I won't say wacky, because it's not wacky. A bit more storage down there, but you know what I'm saying. It's a car with a personality, and typically a lot of certainly German cars, they're very solid, very functional, but just kind of bland greyness across the dashboard. So I do like this, although I do prefer the hatch. The materials, very, very good. That's an optional extra, as I've said. And the switchgear is, again, it's kind of BMW level quality, which shouldn't be you know, a shock really, given it is pretty much a BMW. The seats are the optional extra John Cooper Works ones, which obviously means I can't really tell you what the standard seats are like, but they are very supportive and comfy and hug you quite nicely. This is definitely a family size Mini, of course. It's the, you know, it's the Countryman. You will definitely get 2 car seats in the back. The third bench, I don't think you get a person in between 2 child car seats because they're usually really wide. But you probably get 3 people just in the back for short trips. But I'll jump in the back and see how much space we do actually have. Okay, in the back, I've put the seat in the position that I have it in, and I'm not the tallest in the world. Plenty of room for myself. You can stretch out, which is good, but you can't stretch out to the side. So if you do the old man thing, you can't put your legs under. You have to keep them together to put them there. So if there's a taller person in front, you might struggle a little bit. The seats, again, nothing really to report other than you'll definitely get 2 car seats in either side. The centre bench, again, I don't think you'll get a person there if you've got 2 kid seats in, but if you've got 3 people as opposed to child seats in, you probably will manage it on shorter journeys. And yeah, other than that, it's a nice enough interior. It's what I would expect out of a car of this kind of price range and quality. Let's face it, Mini do see themselves as a premium manufacturer, and although there are, you know, cheaper parts, of course, I would say it's a good enough interior for me. It's all about expectation. If you get a cheap car and the interior is cheap, that's what's expected. If you get a more expensive premium car and the interior is cheap, then that lets you down. I think this is just about right. It's basically a full electric version of the existing car. There's very little in here.
Now turn left.
Thank you. To tell you what this is, that it's different from a normal one, which I think some people prefer. They don't want it to be different, they just want it to be familiar, the same sort of car they're used to. They can just jump in and it's more efficient than their current one. So I can see why some people go for a plug-in hybrid, even though a full electric car may suit. It's different but functional. It's an interior with a personality. It's not quite as good as the hatch, but it's not bad actually. I like it better than I thought I would. This has got the Mini Cooper 1.5 engine in it, mated to the electric motor. Now there's a significant difference between this type of hybrid and something like a Golf GTE. The Golf GTE, effectively, the electric motor helps the engine and drives the car forward through the gearbox. So you've always got that help there from the electric motor, no matter what gear you're in, no matter what speed you're going at to a point. This is different. The petrol engine does the front, the electric motor does the rear, which means that when you first set off, you know, from standstill and at lower speeds up to say 40-ish, maybe up to 50, you've got that kind of oomph behind you that the electric motor gives you. But when you get above that, the electric motor runs out of puff, so you only get that help up to the 40-50 mile an hour speeds before it really starts to tail off, and you know, so you're just relying on the petrol engine then. When you're overtaking, maybe on a motorway and you want to accelerate a bit, that electric motor help isn't really there. It's not as noticeable. Okay, standing start. Stopping. Go! Hello? Oh, there we go. 30, 40, 50, 60. That's not bad. For me, they should take the Cooper S part of it and just call it the plug-in hybrid, or the Cooper PHEV, something like that. But that's me being a Mini snob. You can definitely feel that weight. It's a heavy car, is this, and when you, whoa, hello, it wallows a little bit. That's not to say it's bad at handling. It's not at all. It's actually quite good. But comparing it again to a Cooper S, a traditional one anyway, it's wallowy. For your average family car, it'll suit me fine. There is a delay though. I mean, let me slow down a bit. 30 miles per hour, and I'll try and tell you exactly when to put my foot down. So, now! There we go. There's like a 1 second delay before it goes, oh, you want to go fast? Right! And I am in sports mode as well. Now, miles per gallon is everything in a hybrid. Mini say you'll get over 100 miles per gallon. Well over, in fact. And if you drive it carefully enough and you really utilise the entire battery on its journey, which most people don't, by the way, and I'll come to in a second, I think you could definitely get well above 100 miles per gallon. The trouble is, people just leave it in like hybrid mode and drive it. They don't actually think about what you should be doing to get the most out of it. For example, I am 7 miles from my destination. I'm going to go in full electric mode, because why not? If I've got enough range to get that 7 miles, use it in the battery. Use your battery as much as possible. You want to arrive home or wherever it is you're going to be able to charge with a nearly empty battery, because then you're utilising all of the cheap electric nature of it. There's no point arriving at home with a 3/4 battery. That's utterly pointless, because you might as well just have a petrol engine. So I reckon if you do that, if you utilise the entire battery at each trip and you're economical at driving, you will definitely get well above 100 miles per gallon. I reckon 22 miles I would have got out of this full battery. I must apologise if the audio isn't up to its usual not very good standards, because this entire event that I've been at, where I've got this car for example, it was a bit of a last minute thing for me. Shut up! Stupid sat nav. I just had to grab what I had, what was charged, and go. It's very strange having that quietness of an EV. You know, I'm in full electric mode and it's not making any noise, and I'm familiar with that, of course. And then when you put your foot down, this noisy engine kicks in. It spoils it almost. So yeah, I think if you drive a full electric car and you jump in a hybrid where it's sometimes quiet, it's a bit weird. It makes the engine sound louder than it is. If you drive a normal ICE car, you kind of tune out the noise and the sat nav, but in a hybrid it's like quiet, quiet, loud, quiet, loud again, quiet. It's definitely comfortable over bumps, although given the weight of the car, I don't think it goes over speed bumps as opposed to just plough straight through them. Blunk! Just flattens them, like anything. A phone that tries to be a tablet that tries to be a phone. You know, yes, you can do both things, but it'll probably do neither very well. And this does kind of follow that. It's not as good as the full petrol Cooper S, nor is it as good as a full electric Mini now, actually, when it's out. But you know what? The one thing I'll say is that if this is in your price bracket, it's worthy of at least a test drive. It's a fine car, it's a decent interior, styling is Marmite, you'll either love it or you'll hate it. But in terms of the engineering behind it, the hybridness, the electrification, it's actually pretty good. And again, if you use your noggin and make the most out of it, the battery, you will get the miles per gallon that the manufacturers kind of claim you should. I'm not saying go out and buy this thing, but I am saying go out and test it and see what you think. Right guys, thanks for watching as usual. I will be doing hybrids if someone gives me one, so no complaining that there is an electric and petrol engine on my channel. As I said at the beginning, they are a necessary evil for some people. So if you are still watching at this stage, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.